What up, y'all? It's our favorite time of the week. It is time for Girl, Don't Do It. My name is Daysha Veronica, and about a year ago, I did a video with a company called Fitness Genes. Fitness Genes is a DNA analysis company where you submit your DNA and then they give you a health and nutrition plan based off of your genetics. So since doing the program, I've lost about 30 pounds, but I gotta be real and say that numbers don't really matter to me. What really matters most to me and why I talk about it so much is that I love the amount of confidence that Fitness Genes has given me in my ability to know what is healthy for me and what is healthy for my body. We live in a world where all of these foods and these companies and these trends are always trying to tell us what's healthy for us. But, I have the knowledge and the confidence now through that knowledge of knowing what is actually good for me. But I also recognize, because, I have been there too in not having my coins in order, and not everyone can afford to have that access. And so I wanted to still provide what I've learned through this show. There's a lot that I've learned that you don't necessarily need DNA fitness to know. I would say DNA fitness really works if you want to clearly understand how your body works, but there are general tips that I can provide you through this show that will help. So for this week, I'm reviewing a food that has recently exploded onto the health foodie scene, and that is chickpea pasta. Oh my gosh, it's upside down, my bad. Chickpea pasta. So the funniest thing about my relationship with chickpea pasta is that I actually found it while I was vacationing in Portland at a Target. Target is my spot. And I was like, of course I would find this at a Target in Portland. And I also think what's so interesting about the time in which I found the chickpea pasta is that I was at the time trying to figure out how to make veggie noodles work for me. So I actually really enjoy zucchini noodles. I really love carrot noodles. Carrot noodles are bomb. They're really difficult to make in a noodler though. I usually always get them made because doing it in a noodler is hell. But I'm sorry y'all, there is no amount of imagination that you could infuse through my body to get me to believe that cauliflower could substitute noodles for a mac and cheese. It's just not happening. I don't know why I tried. And here's the thing, I like cauliflower. I like cauliflower a lot. Like Trader Joe's has this really bomb cauliflower crust that I love to use. I think cauliflower can be used for a lot of things, just not mac and cheese. And I think me trying to make cauli mac and cheese was definitely, that was the moment where I had to reevaluate my life and be like, I think you've gotten just a little bit too LA. Just a little bit. I will tear up some good vegan food. I love me a good green juice. But cauliflower mac and cheese will not be a thing. Don't ever try it. Don't ever put it in my face. I'm never gonna do it again. Hell no. So now that I'm done talking about cauliflower mac and cheese, I was really excited that these chickpea noodles came into my life because it was at a point where I was like, I cannot do cauliflower mac and cheese. But I didn't really like eating regular pasta because to me, when I think about the macronutrient ratio, which is carbs, fat, and protein, I just felt like it was so carb heavy and not necessarily always carb heavy in the good stuff. And just to reiterate, something being carb heavy isn't bad, but you just want to really understand where the sources of carbs are coming from. If something is high in carbs but it's high in fiber, I'm gonna throw down. But if something is high in carbs and it's high in sugar, and then now they're actually requiring places to talk about what's added sugar versus natural sugar. So if it's high in added sugar, then I'm definitely not a fan. And then the other thing you want to think about when we think about something being high in carbs is what your daily macronutrient goals are for whatever weight management goals you have. So for instance, my daily goal of carbs is around 160 grams of carbs, which in some ways is a lot. And I can be like, fuck yeah, I can eat all these carbs. But if I'm not paying attention to things like the serving size and then keeping in mind what I want to eat versus what is the serving size that's advertised on the box, it's very easy to deplete yourself of those carbs quickly. And here's the thing, thing. I know it may sound like, man, like you think about all this shit, and it's like, not really. Like after a while, you start eating based more on how your body feels, and you start kind of revisiting the same foods but in different ways. So I don't actually think about this a lot. But I would say once you get into a groove, the hardest part about this process is maybe the first 2 weeks or a month. And then after that, you have an intrinsic understanding of what is in stuff, so you're not always thinking about it consciously. All right, so now back to the pasta. I'm gonna show you guys the front of the box again because there is a psychological marketing tactic that I just wanna talk about a little bit first. So I don't know if you guys caught this the first time, but on the front of the box, what really caught my eye when I was in Target in Portland was the fact that this pasta had 25 grams of protein and 13 grams of fiber. So when we think about macronutrient ratios, like that's insane. Like it is fucking bonkers. And especially for pasta, because most pastas, I mean, you're maybe getting, I think most high protein pastas are 7 grams. I remember I gave my aunt and my mom a box of this pasta because I was like, you guys have to try this. And the first thing they said when they looked at the box was like, 25 grams of protein. And I was like, yeah, isn't that crazy? Especially for a pasta. I think that, you know, most pastas, if they have protein in them, I can't imagine it being higher than like 10 grams of protein per like 40 grams of carbs. Getting back to the psychological marketing tactic, I would say their prominent placement of the protein and the fiber content is what I would call selective attention marketing. So if you want to learn more about selective attention marketing, I actually wrote a post about it. If you go to www.YAAASQueenLife.com and look under my blog, Unapologetically Thick and Fit, there is a whole article devoted to it. But just to give you a brief overview as to how it works, marketers and advertisers understand that when we go shopping, we are often inundated with a ton of stimuli that make it very difficult for us to make choices. You know, I'm sure you guys have been through the times where it's like you hella hungry, you just want to get in, grab something, you want it to be healthy, and so you see all these bright colored boxes with protein, low fat, high fiber, blah blah blah. You know, all of these trigger words that we're trained to understand are healthy. They will market and advertise all over these boxes so that catches your attention and maybe not other parts of the product. And so here's the thing about selective attention marketing. It's not always done in a bad way, because at the end of the day, everyone's just trying to compete for your attention in a world where we are constantly like surrounded with things going on. But it's definitely something that you should be aware of, because a lot of, you know, the bad marketers know that, oh, if I just make sure I advertise this part of the product, most people like to be sold the idea of being healthy rather than they actually like being healthy. So then that allows them to market it in a way that makes it look healthy, but then when you do the deeper digging, there's actually not great stuff in it. So that's part of what this show is for, is to help you do that deeper digging, because I get it, you know, you got kids pulling at you, mom, where's dinner? You got boyfriends or spouses being like, I don't know how to do anything. And so your attention is constantly being pulled in so many different directions. And you're like, God, the last thing you want me to do is think about like whether or not this is actually healthy for me or not. Like, who has time? So a lot of the work that I'm doing is digging into whether or not what a brand is advertising is real or true or fair and true. So when we look at the box of Banza, the immediate thing that stands out, right, is the 25 grams of protein and the 13 grams of fiber, which is in the selective attention marketing game. And when I saw it, I was hella like, I don't know. I was like, this just sounds really, like, it sounds too good to be true. So of course I had to do a little deeper digging. So now I'm gonna show you guys a picture of the nutrition label. So when we look at the serving size, there's about 2 ounces per serving, and then the entire box has 4 servings in it. The other cool thing that Banza does is that they have 2 panels. So one of the panels has the calorie and macronutrient information for the 2 ounces and then for 3.5 ounces. So I'm looking at this now and realizing that the 3.5 ounce panel is probably their guesstimate as what is the typical amount of pasta that people will eat in a serving. And I say this because, again, I'm always hella suspicious of places that use selective attention marketing, and I was like, oh, they want me to think that for 2 ounces I'm getting 25 grams of protein when I'm not. And I always thought that the amount that they marketed on the front of the box was the amount if you ate the whole box, because there are a lot of places that will do that. Because if it was the actual amount for the whole box, then per serving you are actually getting a lot less protein and fiber than what you think. So that's where I was coming at it from. But upon really inspecting the box now for the show, I realized that they actually are trying to do us a solid and in having the second panel that has their guesstimate as to what people are actually eating. So if you do eat the amount that they guess, then you are actually getting 25 grams of protein and 13 grams of carbs per serving. Because the other trick that a lot of marketers like to do is for the serving size, they will make it a serving size that just makes their food look more appealing, and it's not actually a serving size that people are going to eat. So for me, when I eat Banza, I'll make the whole box in one setting, but it'll actually get me 3 servings out of it. So I eat a little bit in the middle between what their guesstimate was and what the actual serving size is. So I eat around 2.5 grams of pasta a serving. Sorry, not grams, ounces. And so after doing the math, I get around, let's see, what does it say? It's around 237 calories a serving, 40 grams of carbs with 10 grams of fiber, and then 17.5 grams of protein, which is hella good for pasta. And I know for a lot of people, again, like the high, 40 grams of carbs, like that might seem like a lot, but like, you know, now let's look at the ingredients list. So these are all really great and natural sources of ingredients. Like, I already love that it's literally 4 ingredients. The less ingredients and the more you know what they are and you can pronounce them, the better it is. I think the only ingredient that might be tripping people up is the xanthan gum, and that's just a food thickener. So you'll notice if you're eating their suggested amount, you're probably getting around 9 grams of sugar a serving. If you're eating my suggested amount, I usually get about 6 grams of sugar per serving. But all of these, again, are natural sugar sources, so I'm not personally worried about it. And again, with it being high carb, like, we all need carbs. Carbs fuel us. They give us energy to move throughout the day and to function. And I also need to get 160 grams of carbs a day. So getting 40 grams of carbs from this in a meal actually is about right on target. I would say most meals I'm getting anywhere between 35 to 45 grams of carbs, which I think is right on target. So I will say one of the benefits to doing DNA analysis is that some people don't efficiently break down carbs, and so they actually might benefit from having a lower carb diet. But that's definitely not everyone, and that's also not me trying to imply that you shouldn't eat carbs, because carbs are great. But it is me saying that if you are someone that feels like, you know, you've tried all of these different things and it hasn't been working for you, having that specificity in terms of what you should be eating might really help you. So I decided to actually bring up my Fitness Genes page because when you're a member, you'll actually get genetic coaching tips that are tailored to popular questions that people have about their diet and nutrition. So as you can see, the question is a low carb diet right for me? And for me, I would benefit from a very gradual reduction of carbohydrates over time. And then before I exit out, I figured this might be a coaching tip that people would be interested in seeing. So I have a genetic tendency to overeat, so it's really good for me to keep low-calorie meals and snacks on hand. And so that genetic tendency is called the FTO gene, but I'm not going to get too deep into that now. I'll do other things on the FTO gene, which was actually, it's something that I learned that has really impacted the way that I eat now. But yeah, so overall, I would say my verdict on the chickpea pasta is yes, queen! This is like a total yes. I love it. I have like boxes of it on my shelf in the kitchen. It's amazing. And then I'm also going to show you guys a picture of the back of the box where they actually show you a comparison of Banza to the typical macronutrient breakdown of other pastas. Like, wow, y'all, 71 grams of carbs in the average serving of pasta. Like, that is insane. Like, when we think about me getting 160 grams of carbs a day, that's most of it. That's like a 2/3, or not 2/3, but more so like half. Like, to know that half of my carb balance for the day would be on probably like a tiny ass serving of pasta, like that's insane. And then again, like I mentioned earlier, you would be getting 71 grams of carbs for 13 grams of protein and 3 grams of fiber. Like, nah, B, y'all got me fucked up. So yes, Banza is a total yes queen. I would totally do it. Or let me not just say Banza, but I think I'm a huge fan of chickpea pasta in general. I can't wait to try other brands. This is only the first brand I've gotten into. I just think for the amount of pasta that you'll get and then the balance of the macronutrients, so the fat, protein, and carb content, like this it can't be beat. It really can't. So the one thing I will say about Banza is that I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, but does it taste like pasta though? And I would say, yeah. I'd say the only time I notice a difference is when it gets cold. When it's cold, it gets, I don't know, I don't have the words to describe it, but I think that's when you would notice and say, this is definitely not like regular pasta. But I wouldn't say that in a bad way. Like, again, I still eat it and it's the best, high protein, non-cauliflower pasta that I have had. Like, I still eat it and I enjoy it. So, but I'm just letting y'all know that I do feel like I notice a texture difference that would make me say, this isn't, a regular pasta when it's cold. But when it's hot, I think it's just like regular pasta. So that's all I got for Girl Don't Do It today. You know what I actually saw recently that I really want to look into more is lentil pasta. A lot of people are making pasta with lentils now. So that is for a future Girl Don't Do It. If you felt inspired from this segment today to maybe look into trying DNA Fitness, you can check out my partnership store with Fitness Jeans, which is on www.YAAASQueenLife.com in the shop section. Oh my God, say shop section 10 times fast. Shop section, I couldn't even get through like 2 times of saying it. That tongue twister. Words, man, these words be tripping me up. But again, if you're interested in trying either the DNA analysis or even getting one of the workout plans that they offer, I have a 10% off code that I can offer you that is all on the website. And don't forget to email me or to DM me if there is any kind of food out there in the world that you want to talk about or something that you want to see on a future episode. So I will catch you guys next Tuesday. And as always, in love, peace, and unapologetic thickness, I'm out. Bye, y'all.